Hello and welcome to this episode of the Mixtape podcast. This is where we take a deep dive into the inspirations and influences of my guest as I ask them to select 6 tracks for their imaginary mixtape. Track 1 is an attention grabber. Track 2 is a song they sing in the car or the shower. Track 3 is a cover version. For track 4, I'll ask them to pick a song they wish they could have played to their 18-year-old selves. Track 5 is a song they would use to woo someone. Track 6 is a track that my guest feels doesn't get the attention or recognition that it deserves. If you'd like to support the creation of this podcast, it's patreon.com/mixtape podcast, or you can check out the link in the description below. You can join for free or subscribe for as little as $2 a month. There's lots of other Patreon-only content on there, including the opportunity to ask guests a question and to have a personalised mixtape playlist curated by yours truly. There's lots of other ways you can support me, a like or a follow on social media. Again, there's links in the description for that. Or if you are listening on Spotify, you can smash the follow icon or you can rate the podcast. All of these little things go a long way towards growing the platform, and I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to this mixtape for KCR 102.5 FM and the mixtapepodcast.com. Joining me today, what a pleasure, what a thrill to be talking to John Smith. How are you, John?
All right, mate. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Very well. So stoked to see your name on the huge list of artists who are playing the Nan Up Festival next year in down south WA. Have you played that festival before? I think you have, if my memory serves.
Oh, no, I have not. I've only played Perth when I opened there for David Gray in 2015. That's the only time I've been down to WA.
Nan Up's one of those festivals. I'm not sure if you're aware. Like the first release of tickets sold out in about half a day, and the second release is on sale now. It's just one of those where people buy tickets without even knowing who's on the bill. It's just a great weekend. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody knows it's always going to be a good lineup. There's some phenomenal WA artists playing as well. So get yourself along to nanupmusicfestival.org. I think you can grab your tickets there. There's still a few second release tickets. Yeah, have you looked at the lineup, John? Is there anyone you already know who's already playing?
I think I was in America when we announced, so I was just concentrating on driving to the next town. Right, the East Pointers are playing. Yes. These Neil's playing. Oh, yeah, Charmer Finches.
There's loads, obviously being a WA festival, there's loads of bands and artists that I've already had on the show playing. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to be getting around with my little Zoom recorder as well and trying to catch as many of the artists that I haven't spoken to before for a quick mixtape chat as well. I like to do that when I go to festivals. Just tee it up beforehand and just get down there and chat to people like face to face. It's always a good chat. And then you're heading off over to Victoria after that, mate, to Port Fairy Folk. And I know you've definitely played there before, haven't you? I've seen that. I'm sure.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times. That's a good one, man. So I'm doing Nanut, Port Fairy, and then we're just working on the solo shows in between. So I'll be going and playing a few shows around about Australia.
Yeah. Right, okay. Any more in Perth, or you don't know yet, or is that going to be the only Perth and WA show?
I'm hoping so. I'm really hoping so. I'm just waiting for it to land. I can't announce anything yet.
Your latest record, Living Kind, John, let's have a chat about that one. The first thing I want to say about that, to anyone who's listening, if you're thinking about streaming it or buying it, the deluxe version is where you need to be with that record, because there's some phenomenal live versions on the end of that, John. Whereabouts were they recorded? Were they various shows, or was that one show that you recorded?
At the Union Chapel in London.
Oh, how good is that venue?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. That to me is, I think that's the best room in the UK to play music.
Yeah. I've seen heaps of bands there. I think I saw Paolo Nutini there once. I've seen Ray LaMontagne I saw there in the early days. That was a really, really good show as well. Yeah, so the Living Kind, I think that the strings just sound amazing on that. Like when you said Union Chapel, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, because I know what a phenomenal room it is. I want to talk to you a little bit about the video for the Living Kind, because it weirded me out a bit, mate. I'm not going to lie. I won't give too much away. I'll let people find it for themselves. But like, When you came up with the concept for that video, were there any mushrooms involved, or what was the story there, mate?
Yeah, I mean, look, since becoming a dad, I've had to cut down on my acid intake. You know what I mean?
So,
Any excuse for a little bit of psychedelia, I'm there. I'll take.
it's a great video. I want people to check that out on the YouTube. It's a really fun one. It looked like it was fun to make as well.
Yeah, I love anything a bit gonzo. I'm a big fan of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. But
Yeah, no, it's a great video. Definitely check that out on John's YouTube channel. I wanted to go back a little bit as well, and I won't go too back far into the old back catalogue, but The Fray was your album before that, I think, and some amazing collaborations on that album. Some great people to work with. And I wanted to talk about one of them in particular, Lisa Hannigan. That vocal performance is one of my all-time favourite vocal performances. It's phenomenal, spine-tingling, just, yeah. I know you've talked about it on, I think it was like a behind-the-music sort of video that you did on YouTube, but just for my listeners, just tell us a little bit about the recording of that particular track and how it came about with working with Lisa and stuff like that.
it's funny. I wrote that song, and because I've been collaborating with Lisa, I don't know, 12, 13 years. I played on her second record back in 2011 on Passenger, and then I joined her touring band, toured the world with Lisa a couple of times. And we're just good friends. She's like a big sister to me. Anytime that I get to record a duet, she's the first person I call. And that song, I wrote that during the lockdown. It was about couples with a lot of pressure on them, still trying to stay in love. And I presented it to her, and she just, I don't know, she just did what she always does. She hears something and then she sings it differently to how you expect, and imparts all of this emotion and power, and the song came out so much better than I thought it ever would. And she recorded it over Zoom. Because we were still in lockdown, she went to a studio in Dublin and I was in the studio in the UK, and we were talking over Zoom, and she could record and just sang it, and I watched it happen on a screen. And she did one take, and me and my engineer went, then we got it. And she said, do you want one for luck? Did you want one just to safety? And we went, yeah, because you always do, you get a spare just in case. And she sang it again, and it was just as good, but she did it in the first take. It was magical. Yeah, no, it's a fantastic version. I'll definitely drop that into the chat, into the radio show when as we're talking. Let's move into your mixtape track choices then, John. So what I love about doing the mixtape is when people who perform music in a certain genre, and then their mixtape tracks, like particularly your track one, it's not what you'd expect. So I absolutely love that. So yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but so attention grabber, John, track one for your mixtape. What track did you pick for that? When I'm driving down the motorway at 3 a.m, as I often have to, I need something to keep me awake. So I wind the windows down and I put on Mastodon, and I turn up the stereo in my old Volvo as loud as it can get. My favourite Mastodon track is Crystal Skull. It begins with these drums that sound like something out of Lord of the Rings. It sounds like the beginning of an epic battle scene. And it's just got the most amazing guitar break. Yeah, I love that band because at the heart of it is just great guitar riffs and great songs.
Yeah.
So it's a million miles away from my little folky world, but man, those guys can play. So this is Crystal Skull by Mastodon.
It is absolutely an attention grabber. I'll give you that, mate. Yeah, fantastic choice for your track one. And track two, John, what is a song that you sing when you're on your own in the car or the shower?
Oh yeah, my dream is to be able to sing a Paul McCartney song and do it justice. One of my favourites is Here, There and Everywhere. I just think it's the most ridiculously beautiful song. Those early Beatles records, it just stands out to me. It's like there's something about it. It transcends anything else that they did personally. That for me, that song is just like touched by, if there's a God, then he'd sing that song in the shower. I just think it's a perfect piece of music. Here, There and Everywhere by the Beatles.
I think I read somewhere, annoyingly for people who write songs, and for the beautiful way you described it there, like he knocked it out in about 20 minutes, sitting around a swimming pool or something stupid like that. Well, that's why Paul McCartney's Paul McCartney and I'm not.
Because my mate from Liverpool just went to see him in Mexico and said it was the best gig he's ever seen.
Yeah.
At 82 years old.
I know.
Incredible.
What a performer. What a performer. Okay, track 3, John, is what's your favourite cover version, mate?
It's another Beatles song. It's a John Lennon song. Donny Hathaway singing Jealous Guy. And it's the live version. Man, there's just something about this band in that room, whatever was going on, they are perfect. It's like you're wearing a Whistle Test t-shirt, footage of Bill Withers on the Whistle Test, and his band are just go on it. You can cut the vibe in the room with a knife. And Donny Hathaway sings the hell out of it. He also does, I was torn between him singing Jealous Guy and from the same record, You Got a Friend. The groove, the way he sings this song, it's just perfect.
He does a fantastic version of What's Going On as well. I think that live album is one of my go-tos. Incredible live album. And when you see, like, when you read, like, in magazines and stuff, and like nowadays on websites and stuff, greatest live albums, like, of all time, that's always in the mix somewhere around there, like Donny Hathaway Live. It's a phenomenal record. Are you familiar with the Teskey Brothers, John? Do you know them, Australian band?
They're great.
Yeah. They cover Donny Hathaway's version of Jealous Guy. In the live show, yeah, they do it the Donny Hathaway way, yeah, which is really good as well.
He sounds like Dreading, doesn't he? That.
Oh, mate, he's just like some surfer dude from Victoria. Like, when you look at him, I remember I sent a link to one of my friends in the UK a year or two back, and she was listening to it and loving it. And then about 3 months later, I just got this message that went, the singer from Teskey Brothers is white. She said, I know, yeah, but she's the same as you. It's like a Sam Cooke and Otis Redding had a baby and he was a surfer dude in Melbourne. That's what he is. Yeah, fantastic. Teskey Brothers are so good. Really so great. All right, John. And track 4 of your mixtape is pick a song that you wish you could play to your 18-year-old self.
This was tricky. I don't know if I really understand the question because I'm a great believer that everything you hear at the different stages of your life it leads you to where you are now.
Yeah.
So I was just curious I thought about it. I was like, what if I'd heard Amelia by Joni Mitchell? It probably would have got me into chorus guitar a lot sooner. And I probably would have leaned into my chorus pedal a lot harder. But it's also just, there's something about it. It's like a cyclical bit of songwriting. You never quite know where you are in the structure of the song because it's like a wheel that's always turning. And then suddenly it stops. 5-6 minutes later, you're onto the next track. There's something about it that's completely hypnotic. And I only heard it for the first time in my 30s. And I've never heard anything like it. Yeah, it would have been good to give young John a little impression of that world, maybe.
What sort of stuff were you listening to when you were 18, John?
Man, a mix of Nick Drake. I was obsessed with Nick Drake because I was learning how to play guitar properly, listening to Nick Drake and John Renbourn, Bert Jansch. And only later on I got into Joni Mitchell. I was also heavily into Metallica as well. I was sitting in my room. I had one guitar in really weird alternate tunings, learning Nick Drake, and another one strung up with light strings, like hitting Metallica tunes for my practice.
Brilliant. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Track 5, John. What is a song you would put on your mixtape to let a romantic interest know that you're interested in them?
Here's the thing. I think Bee's Wing by Richard Thompson is not only one of the great love songs written, I think it's just one of the best songs ever written by a human being on this planet. I think Richard Thompson he's great, and then he wrote Bee's Wing, and that elevates him he's somewhere up in the firmament, looking down on everyone else. I don't know where you get a song like that. It's extraordinary. And as soon as I heard it, I learned it, and I started playing. Anytime I'm sitting around a campfire and someone passes me a guitar, I'll play Bee's Wing. But I played it for my missus very early on, and she burst into tears. She'd never heard it before. She couldn't believe what a beautiful song it was. And so, yeah, if I was out in the world single, I'd probably be playing Bee's Wing.
Yeah. Lyrically, the way he describes that girl in the laundry, like a fox in the headlights, animal in her eyes. Oh, man. It's so evocative, and it reminded me a lot of, like, not musically, but the way Tom Waits describes the waitress with marmalade thighs, Maxwell House eyes, and scrambled yellow hair. Like you can see it, you can picture it. Do you know what I mean? Straight away, it just gives you that image.
And yeah, you know from the first verse that he's never going to be able to hold on to her. It's doomed from the get-go. Yeah. And it's just so beautiful. And then he writes another one is like 1952, Vincent Black Lightning, which is another of the all-time great love songs. And Richard Thompson wrote that. And that's about a love story that does work, but it's still doomed. Writing about doomed love, it's Richard Thompson and Tom Waits. Anyone else really touches them. No Tom Waits on my list. I'm sorry there's no Waits on my list.
Oh, that's all right, mate. Sometimes I play a little game with myself and try and guess what sort of artists like people pick when I send out a list. And I was wondering if there was going to be any John Martin, Nick Drake vibes, but yeah, that's cool. It's all good. Your choices, mate. It ain't my mixtape. It's yours.
I came to Nick Drake so early on in my life. He was the springboard for me discovering everything else. I feel like everything that's on this list is stuff I've discovered more recently.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. She didn't really discover the Beatles until my early 20s. I was always into Led Zeppelin and Clapton, and then just the world opened up and I started. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a funny musical journey, but started with really fingerstyle guitar. That was the beginning of my introduction to proper music. But man, if this list was longer, Neil Young would be on there, Tom Waits would be on there, Ry Cooder, Paul Simon. But man, it's only 6 numbers.
I know, yeah, it's difficult. It's so hard to narrow it down. A lot of people say that. Just going back to Richard Thompson quickly, I was going to say I met him once at a Teddy Thompson gig. His son was playing in Camden and I was at that gig. And it was quite a small venue. I can't remember the venue. It might have been the Barfly. And I was near the back and I seen the cap, right, the hat. And from a distance, and I was like, no, it's not, is it? Surely not. And I went to the toilet and I walked past him and it was him. And I was like, shit, I've got to say hello. So I come out of the toilet and it was between songs, so I could just have a quick, like, hello, pleasure to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I shook his hand and I was like, all suddenly embarrassed. I was like, oh, what if he thinks I never wash my hands? Because he's just seen me come out of the toilet. I was like, it's all right, I washed my hands. But yeah, we had a quick chat, and I used to have an old VHS guitar instructional video that he made like back in the 70s or 80s, and that was my introduction to learning guitar. So I had a quick chat with him about that as well. But yeah, that was a great meeting, and that was pre-mobile phones as well, so I didn't even get a selfie or nothing like that with Richard Thompson, which is a bit of a shame.
When I started gigging, there weren't smartphones. I'm 40 and I've been gigging since I was 16, and there weren't smartphones, and it was different, man. Yeah, and so I'm always like, I love playing a gig where people just stand and listen and share in it and create an atmosphere together. It's very hard to get into a gig when there's a phone in your face. It's part of it. However people want to enjoy a show is great.
I have similar conversations with my partner because she loves that. She loves to take a video or a photo at a show, but I've never done it until she asked me one time to do one, and I was like, she wasn't there. And I did one for her last night at Think. She wasn't at the Think gig either. So I took one for her last night, but I justified it to myself by holding the phone like that, but I wasn't looking at the phone. I was still looking like at the stage with my own eyes. All right, final track, John. And track 6 is normally one where I'm not familiar. That's normally a good track for me to discover. But living in Australia and being a blues fan, I am familiar with your track 6 choice. Fire away, mate. Tell us who you chose for your underappreciated track 6.
That's it. So in the UK, this is an artist who I don't think gets nearly enough attention. He is Australian, and of course he's a big deal in Australia. I didn't really think of that.
I thought you were just thinking of token Aussie.
No, man, I was just thinking, who would I love to hear on the radio in the UK? And it's the great C.W. Stone King. And I've been very fortunate to play bills with him, Port Fairy. Both times I've played, he's been on the bill. And we've hung out, and he's a lovely fella and a great performer. And man, I just love his records. They're like treasured items in my house. And everyone I play him to, who is this? When was this recorded? You have to explain, oh, that was made this century. Yeah. I just think he's wonderful. And yeah, his standout track, To Love Me or Die, I think it's a killer bit of storytelling.
Superb. For me, he's in the storytelling vibe. He's very much in the Tom Waits zone with his lyrics and the way he writes a song. And that Jungle Blues album is phenomenal. I've got a lovely vinyl copy of that. And yeah, that is one of my Aussie, when it comes to Aussie artists, for me, it's Teskey Brothers, CW, Stone King. Like, they're right up there. And like you say, it sounds so authentically retro. It sounds like it was recorded 60, 70 years ago, but it's only a few years old. Yeah, I'd urge anyone to get along and check out the album Jungle Blues by CW Stone King. It is an absolute cracker. All right, John, just to round out the chat, mate, future plans going into 2025, what you got coming up in the sort of early to mid part of next year, mate?
I'm always working on a new record. And then next year I'm going on tour. So I'm putting things together at the minute, but I'll probably get a new record out next year. I've got a big headline show at the London Shepherd's Bush Empire in May, just after I get from Australia. I'll be heading out back to the US and then back around Europe, the UK, just staying on it, man. Always just trying to slowly grow and build and keep going.
That's the way, mate. That's the way. Hopefully I'll get a chance to come and say hello and have a beer with you somewhere at Nanup, mate. If you're around, we'll try and catch up and say hello. And I'll send you a little list of some of my favourite artists who are going to be playing at Nanup, and hopefully you can maybe catch some of them as well. John Smith, thanks for coming on the show, mate. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Cheers, John. Safe travels down under. I'll see you when you get here, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you so much for listening to the Mixtape podcast. All the links that you will need are in the description below. Link to my Patreon, my guest website and social media, my social media, and the link to the Mixtape tracks playlist as chosen by today's guest. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time.